Hey class, happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. Just a short video to tell you I appreciate you working hard in the discussions on the presentation, the written assignment. You're doing a fine job. Please use the feedback that I'm giving you. Hopefully it's good feedback. Hopefully it gives you the tools that you need to improve. If you do not make 100%, if you hadn't made 100% on your assignments, you can certainly revise those, resubmit them. Just send me an email, let me know that that's what you'd like to do, and I don't mind you doing it. One of the things I've tried to do this term is give you a lot of feedback and help you. I know sometimes if you don't make 100%, you get mad and say, that's so-and-so professor. But the goal is to help you. It's not just to focus on the grades. Obviously, I have to follow the rubric, and I have rules that I have to follow as well. Can't just give out 100s, but I do try to give you that feedback to try to help you in the future. And I hope you've enjoyed the class. I've certainly been honored to have an opportunity to work with each and every one of you. It has been an honor. I've watched you grow. Many of you, this is the first time you've had an online class. I say this all the time in the video, and I know you get tired of hearing it, but it is the first time you've had an online class, and I hope you enjoyed it. Online learning can be fun, it can be inspirational, and it is an excellent tool to help you with your academic goals. And I hope that I've been the catalyst for that, and I've been able to help you learn as we've moved forward, because you've certainly done a good job. Excuse me, and that's been demonstrated by your engagement, the great posts that you've shared, and all the hard work. Some of you've emailed me. You've been frustrated with APA. You've been frustrated with the material, but you've hung in there. You've hung in there. You stuck it out with me, and we're almost done. And I told you in the beginning, if you'd stick it out with me, I'd do everything I can to help you, and you've done that, and I appreciate you doing that. So I hope you did enjoy the class. Again, if you didn't make 100%, please use my feedback, revise your post, paper, presentation, resubmit it, and I'll grade it again. I don't mind doing that. And if it's not right the second and third and fourth time, I'm going to work with you. It's not a one-shot deal. I'm going to work with you and try to help you get it so that you get where you need to be. That's the goal, not just to focus on the papers, but to help you to learn the material and to move forward. And I hope you feel better. I really do hope you've enjoyed the class and I've done something. As I said, it's been an honor. Every single one of you have worked hard. It has absolutely been an honor. I don't get to meet you in person, and that's one of the things I wish I could do is meet you in person, or we had the ability to meet live occasionally, because you're excellent. You're excellent students, and I've enjoyed it. You've worked hard. I'm very proud of each one of you. You've given it 120%. You've done everything possible to learn the material in the writing and the APA and move forward. And I know we're almost there. So thank you very much. This week, good presentation. I think a good discussion on monopoly, goods and services. As I discussed in my video last week, even though I got the weeks mixed up, we have a lot of countries out there that don't produce goods and services, and they do a lot of trading, and they have to buy and sell because they don't have the ability to do anything on their own. So they just have to buy it, and they get loans from the World Bank, or they have oil or diamonds or something to that effect. There's some other countries out there that don't have any natural resources whatsoever, so the only thing they can do is try to work with international corporations and try to produce these goods and services and sell those. In return, they make money, and it stimulates the economy. The thing that is interesting to me, one of the things that for me in sociology, one of the things that's interesting, the world's just not fair. It's not a fair world. It doesn't matter if it's communism, some form of socialism or democracy. Everybody, the goal is to make money. And the thing about making money is that we have to have it in order to do what we need to do. So communism, socialism, all that seems cool, but somehow it's all got to be paid for. Whether we're talking about universal health care, we're talking about the military, or we're talking about feeding the public. Somebody has to pay for it. And in this case, it's the government or the people in the country. They're taxed. There has to be some way to do it. But when there's a limited economy, everybody's poor. How does the government support the people? How does the government provide those different services that are required? In some cases, they don't do a real good job of that whatsoever, because there's just not enough money, just not enough infrastructure to do it. And I think that's one of the problems with monopolies, as you noted, when a company comes in, they monopolize something that decreases a competition. We don't tend to get better; we tend to get worse, and everyone doesn't get. There's no level playing field. So whatever's being provided, that's it. There's nothing else is going to be provided because there's nothing but competition. Now we see that with some even democracies where they have a state-owned oil company, like Mexico, for instance. You know, they have Pemex in Mexico, where that's a state-owned oil company. They do everything. They do the drilling, they do the refining, everything. And so what Mexico has, they had a monopoly. So what Mexico has decided is, hey, we can do better, provide for our people. We can, make more money by allowing some of the other companies to come in that have that expertise and have the equipment, and those guys are coming in and doing the drilling in the oil now, not just Pemex, and they do that with the telephone companies, they do that with the power grid, etc. And so there's some changes coming down because we've learned that monopolies are not necessarily a good thing. Now I've posed some questions to you about public safety. I know some of you are going into public safety. Maybe you're firefighters, or you want to be in law enforcement, whatever, is some of those things to think about, on the municipal corporate side, if you will, a municipality, a state government, a county government, parish government, whether or not fire departments, police departments, ambulance services, the water service, or whether or not they're monopolies. So would it make better sense to have some of those different services available? And we saw that not long ago when several years ago when the FCC deregulated the telephone industry. All of a sudden, we had all these different telephone companies pop up. You could go next door and choose 5 different providers if you wanted to do your home service, keep your same phone number. You could move 200 miles away in the state, keep your same cell phone number, home phone number, etc. And we saw that, and some of it worked out good, and some of it didn't. The local provider, the landline service, had already put the copper in, it already put the fiber optics in the line. And so these people would come in and lease services from this provider based upon this deregulation. And we saw some good things happen with that because now you had different choices. They tried to do that with electricity, where different providers, there may be 10 different providers on one block with 36 homes. Didn't work out real well. California tried it, didn't work out real well. So there's some times where a monopoly may be a good thing because it just makes sense that there's only one provider. It's difficult for those companies or public institutions to stay in business if they are not a monopoly because there's just not enough competition out there, or there's not a way to build the infrastructure, running wires, etc. It could just get crazy. So there's some examples of where monopoly is good, but as we've seen, there's lots of examples where monopoly is not good. All this impacts the world. We see globalization. We see how that affects population growth, how that affects the environment, how it's hard to feed people, and some of the things that are being done there. If you do some research on at the World Bank or United Nations, you see what the efforts are between the different countries to feed people. The problem is we go back to war. We go back to challenges there. It's sometimes difficult to get some of those that food stuff in, that health care to those people that are in need because there's regional conflicts. And so when there's regional conflicts, a lot of times those different groups, whether they're a terrorist group or warlords or whatever, they'll come in and steal all the food supply, and then the people in the community don't get anything. So there's lots of challenges there to consider. I think, in my personal opinion, some of that can be dealt with, and it may be conflict. It may require the United States, NATO, and other countries to get involved and send troops in to make sure that people can be fed. We could do that. It wouldn't be easy. There'd be some people lose their lives over it, and we're going to be there a long time. It doesn't solve all the regional problems, but certainly people could eat and get health care. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening because in the world of things, when we talk about monopolies and different things, if there's no natural resources, anything that those other countries can use, then they're not going to invest their troops and lives and people to do that. They expect those people to handle it themselves, and they can't always do it. So again, Life's not fair. The world's not fair. I wish there was more that we could do to address these problems. You're doing a good job with the discussions, papers, and presentations, as I mentioned. Please continue to look at the announcements, the information that I've shared there to help you with your papers, with your posts. Take a look at that final assignment. If you haven't already done that, use the template, the layout, the tips, and feedback that I've given you. Keep moving forward. You're doing a great job. I am proud of you. Again, I'm very honored to have an opportunity to work with you. If you need me, I want you to reach out to me. I'll do everything I can to help you. Keep rocking. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll check back in this weekend.